This happened a few months ago. If I remember correctly, in January or February 2024, I was visiting family in southern France and did not want to stay at their place even if they offered, for personal reasons which I won't share here. Note that I visit them quite often and usually last minute, so I'd never book the same place and sometimes book a hotel which was more expensive but better for me because I don't necessarily want to socialise with the hosts. Even when I would book Airbnbs, I would always search flats or studio flats and not a room in a flat or a house where other people live, as I want to be on my own, so this is important criteria for me. So I booked this Airbnb within walking distance to where my family members stay, and it looks very nice on paper. I think it was marketed as a house or a ground floor flat with access to a yard and a garden. It was probably one of the cheaper options. There were not a lot of reviews, but the few ones that were there were pretty positive. So I go to that place with my suitcase, waiting in front of the house. I contact the landlord who should give me the keys, but he's late. I spent at least 1 hour waiting outside, and I'm trying to be patient, realising at least the neighbourhood is pretty nice and seems safe, even if I did have to walk through areas that were slightly dodgy to get there. The landlord finally arrives. He seems like a good man and apologises profusely, saying that he was in another town visiting his cousin or friends, and time flew by. First red flag, he says they were drinking and didn't have time to sober up, so he had to speed on the highway on his motorbike while being drunk. He stops and asks me half jokingly not to say that in my review. I get a bit serious and tell him he shouldn't drink and drive, but he says he didn't really want to make me wait any longer. I tell him I won't flag that in my review, although I probably will, but I don't want to get off on the wrong foot. This guy is nice otherwise and seems trustworthy, very chatty and open to socialising, and frankly I was just happy I could finally get in and drop off my stuff. Second red flag is when he tells me I'll be living in a small flat adjacent to the bigger house where he lives. But I shouldn't worry because I have my own place, my own bathroom, my own kitchen, etc, etc. I don't like that too much, but I actually think it might be good because I'm not super comfortable being on my own in a ground floor accommodation, knowing anyone can get into the yard and access the front door. So knowing that someone that I know is close by in case something happens gives me a sense of safety. He shows me around. All seems okay. It's pretty old, but as I said, I wasn't looking for a luxury stay. The part where I would stay is on a lower level than street level. Not exactly like a basement, because there is access to a garden, but I need to walk down a set of stairs outside and get into the flat through the backyard. This shows mostly when I'm in the bedroom, as I see through the windows that it's clearly at a lower level. Next red, or rather yellow flag, is when he shows me a door close to his bedroom, which is the connecting door between my part and his part of the house. I was kind of expecting that, but thought he might need to at least cross the yard or access through the front door to get to my part of the house. He says this door stays closed and is locked anyway, not as a warning for me to try and open it, but more like you'll notice there is this door. It's useless for you and what's beyond it is not what you're renting. We chat a little bit and he gives me his phone number because Airbnb chat feature is not too good, it's easier to use WhatsApp. And then he leaves. I start to settle down, open my suitcase and get changed before leaving to visit my family. I then went back to the place in the evening and decided to have a shower. If I remember correctly, what I'm saying next happened before I took a shower because I remember locking the bathroom door, which I never do when I'm on my own, and I recall being quite anxious when taking a shower. It's the biggest red flag before the last drop. I'm sitting on the bed and hear a knock and someone saying my name. 2 seconds later, before I get the chance to answer or even understand where the noise was coming from, I hear keys turning in the lock and the door opening. As you might have guessed, it's the connecting door next to the bedroom. The guy enters, says he can't find his phone and he might have left it downstairs. I'm a bit shocked, probably because if it had come 10 minutes later, I would have been naked, ready to take a shower, or maybe walking around in a towel, since I'm supposedly alone. I know it might sound like I'm a pussy, but keep in mind I'm a relatively young woman, alone in a house with a man in his 40s or 50s, who has control over when he can get into my place at any time. I stay polite and try and tell him that no, I haven't seen his phone. He still comes in, speaking a lot and very fast while I'm sitting there, not fully realising what's happening and not having a chance to tell him to leave. He looks around the flat and obviously doesn't find the phone. Then he says he's sorry and asks if everything is fine, if I had dinner or something like that, and then he leaves again. At this point, I'm wondering if I should just stay or not, since I know you get refunded only if you cancel 2 nights in advance. I just thought I would lose the money for the night that has started, and the following one maybe, knowing if I'd booked at least 4 nights. I really needed to take a shower, but questioning if I should. I tried to see if there are available hotel rooms, but it's already too late to book, or already fully booked. I decided to take my shower real quick, wondering if he could hear the water, and decide that he forgot something else as an excuse to get in again. Nothing bad happens. I then go back to the bedroom, get dressed as fast as I can, and just sit down and think. I decide that I'll stay for just 1 night, and probably be less paranoid in the morning if I'm still alive. That's when I notice the chairs in the bedroom. There are 2, and one of them has ropes tied around the armrests. The chairs are in good shape, and the rope is definitely not there to keep the armrest fixed to the chair. To this day, I have no idea why they were there. I still think I should sleep there just for a night, and try to use the chair to block the door handle in the bedroom, like in the movies. But guys, this only works in the movies. I try with both chairs, trying to pile them up, even trying to use the ropes one way or another. The handle can still go down enough to open the door easily. I think that at least if I leave them in the front door, I'll hear if someone tries to open it. But the door opens the other way, and in any case, I don't know what I'll do even if the noise did wake me up. Again, I know I'm paranoid and anxious, but living alone, abroad, my motto is to never ever take risks for my own safety, as I'm usually the only one who can save myself. So it's better to avoid any tricky situation. However, this was definitely a tricky situation. I was seconds away from falling asleep. Maybe I'd already been asleep, I don't know. I was in that stage where you just sort of slip in and out. I looked over towards the door, just to check it for peace of mind, and I realised it was already open by a crack. My senses heightened. I tried to pick up any sort of signal that I was not alone in the bedroom. Then it became clear to me that wasn't my breathing that I could hear.